My name is Rhapsody. His name is sneakyteak, and welcome back to the Ladder Streak for another week. How's it going, bud?
It's going awesome. I'm excited to play Tethys. I think for both of us, the last time we played Tethys was in this streak. And she was my first favorite, actually, before Lil Fade.
Huh.
That was my first favorite champion.
What about it in particular? Is it the scaling?
I think that it felt so different from the other champs at the time, prior to Exiles. Not to say that there weren't any other, kind of flimsy champions, but most of the other champions were easier to manage. And I remember at the time people saying, Stygian's so hard, like how do you keep Tethys alive? But Tethys was guaranteed boss scaling in a way that was so much more linear than the others, particularly with the Frostbite path, right? And so, I don't know. I like her design. When I pick favorites, it's not always just because of balance. It's also, I just like them, right? I like Lil Fade because I like Lil Fade. Yeah. I like Tethys because I like Tethys. They both have that small but mighty aspect to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not just the even small but mighty, but also like in the size of the eyes. Yes, the shark teeth a little detract from this, but the size of the eyes especially, there's a cuteness in there.
They're
It kind of
cute.
reminds me of the Quaggons from Guild Wars, or like the Quaggons especially. I love them because they would speak in third person, kind of like, Quaggon love you, kind of.
Oh
like
no.
Adorable. Like a little bit Ewok in there as well, a little bit Gremlin.
Right. A little bit of a lot of things.
Hey, this is not a bad kit to start with. Sweep,
It's not.
piercing, pseudo sweep or individual damage target, scaling damage. It's like there's a lot provided by these.
There is. There's a lot of energy cost is one thing for us to figure out.
Conduit. Hey, we found conduit, but we could consider it.
It's not bad here. It's really not.
We do have so a lot of the problem that I find when I take conduit is before I've taken any units to supplement the conduit, I have to kill bosses with no scaling whatsoever. But at least here we have 2 ice tornadoes and a Titan's Tooth. We've got decent ability to kill the early bosses without it.
Right. And for all that I said about Tethys being your only source of scaling, Frostbite is clear because it's damage scaling. But just like in other card games, there are other ways to scale. Energy scaling is a form of scaling. And if Conduit Tethys makes it easy for us to manage the waves, then we can invest all of the rest of our other resources in creating other boss scaling mechanisms, right? Particularly if we're able to draft other Stygian units. Stygian units tend to be pretty good at boss scaling.
That's immediately what I had to check this screen for, and I saw it just prior. The Hellhorn banner is here, and the Forgotten Boons are here, so if we want a Stygian, it's down until Bogworm's Remains.
Yeah. But we could get unit drafts and stuff. Honestly, I really think, I think we should take Conduit just because it doesn't get enough love. And this is the perfect deck to try to do some Conduit things. And you can do really busted stuff with Conduit if you find the right pieces.
Yes. To be clear, I think that because of the base deck, both of these are super viable right now. This has an obvious way.
It makes it more easy to figure out Seraph, right?
Yes.
We know how we're going to win the relentless bosses through the end game. It's our Tethys.
This has that clarity, but also I think this will give us a lot more of a dimension to demonstrate playstyles. Do it. Oh,
Do it. Wow, that's weird. That's a super weird draft here.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do some mathematical comparisons, right? Let's say the average fight exists for 7 rounds of actual combat plus ballpark it. I'm going to say 5 rounds of relentless. And
that's the end game rounds for sure.
Yes. The ones that I think will be more impactful. So that's 12 rage off the top that you're no longer taking.
Right.
So 12 rage worth of damage is 24 damage. So if you hit 24 rage consistently on your rage builder, Resonant Shard is better in all circumstances up through the late game.
Yep.
I
think you would have to have the fight go really long for Collection of Tales to be better than Resonant Shard. Your quick math here is quite good, I think.
I was about to go the second layer down, which is like the unit that is most likely to end up getting Rage in this build, if we stick to the Conduit Tethys theme, would be an unnamed Siren, and she
Which would be
always gets
awesome.
more Rage than that.
Yeah.
Hey,
well, I think the third layer down was just to skip since money might matter for the next couple floors and we don't have a Rage plan yet, but I like taking the Resonant Shard here.
Especially with the Hellhorn as a subclan, it feels like we gotta.
We're gonna find it.
So these also have permafrost as well, by the way. Now that's like a new thing that is ridiculously valuable.
It's kind of cute. I like it. It's very thematic.
I think we're not going to think of it as cute in this run with Tethys and the Conduit.
No, it's good as well. But when I saw that update, I saw it and my first thought was, that's a theme-based update. It's objectively a buff, but it felt very much like, yeah, it's an ice tornado. It's frozen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that it managed to kind of like ride the line there. It is both. Oof. Do we ever leak 3 damage here so that we hold on to both ice? No, okay.
I don't think it's a real concern.
No damage shield for you.
Smart. I would have just played it out and immediately had to deal with that. No damage shield for you.
None allowed. Yeah. I mean, God, I wish you were on this floor right now, but that'll solve it.
GG.
GG.
Let's see an offering token here, huh?
Yeah, no kidding. Offering token and Nameless Siren?
So there's the offering token. The spell weakness was not bad there either.
You're right, I probably should have stacked on that screen for a little second longer. This... So
are you looking at the important work?
Yeah, we're in an incant deck, so
yeah.
We're also in an imp deck as well?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is just because we're Hellhorned Exiled, we know that we've got fodder for important work as long as we stack up correctly. And it's fairly reasonable for us to set up Tethys below floor 3, like floor 1 or 2, so we can take advantage of those spells right away, right? Which means that we often have a safe place to couch our other imps as just basically weird delayed energy and draw. It's effectively giving us this important work, like gives us a couple removals, is how I would think of it, which I think is actually pretty good. Do you ever take the Welder Helper instead, though?
Yeah, you should have seen the look of consternation on my face for the last 20 seconds as it dawned on me that the Welder Helper proposes a scaling defensive solution that we don't yet have and may not necessarily get.
It's actually wild that this unit has effectively more health than a lot of priority unit drafts. Now that it says armor 20.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I think that gives us... Oh, God. Oh!
There she is.
I was about to say, I think that gives us flexibility to have the Nameless Siren be out the front, being supported by endlessly regenerating imps, but I don't even need to. The game is now going to let us say that.
Nah, but we're going to get the Guard of the Unnamed.
I would love a good Guard of the Unnamed right now.
I believe.
Teak, if there's ever a position to go for the Merchant of Magic first, I think we just found it.
I think so too. Money, we can get some damage up on these spells, which we depend on right now. I mean, that's how we're killing things.
So I kind of want to get a cost reduction on each of the Ice Tornadoes. We're probably not going to invest 3 levels of Conduit into Tethys.
Yeah, usually not, right?
So it feels like, especially with the permafrost, this gives us kind of like a consistency. I'm also kind of happy to just go for a hard reroll, Surge Stoner, Consume even. Rather,
it's the -1 is significant value now. I think that we do care about getting some value rolls here. Like, I would love Emberstone, Surge Stone, reroll, and then the tier 1s again. I honestly think that will be solid for us.
Cool. Let's do the natural applications of those. Hey, we may even still... Nothing for that, right?
I mean, I guess you could double stack Titan's Tooth for Frostbite 20.
We can, but especially with Resonant Shard and the Nameless Siren, it feels like we already have our boss scaling, and if we were doing that much
Agreed.
Frostbite at one point, it would be for boss scaling.
Agreed. I also think that that's a lot of money. And that's always a consideration that I have is I don't have perfect numbers. This is more of an intuition thing. But I look at something and I'm like, is this good? Yes. It's almost always better to have the upgrade than to not have it, right? Yeah. It's easy to convince yourself that the upgrade is good. Is it 85 gold good? Would we be better served to save that for an upgrade for our Nameless Siren, right? I don't think it's 85 gold good for us right now. The one place that might be the argument is the major bosses, to where double stack on the Frost can make a big difference because it's stacking up on the boss now while we're kind of getting online. But I couldn't convince myself.
Yeah, it feels like that is going to be a problem that we end up encountering much later on. We have much more time to fix that.
Yep.
I think part of something that contributed to a very slow growth in knowledge, in I think Slay the Spire especially for me, is that the comparison point that I would make in cards was always, is this better or worse than a removal?
Right.
And that gets trickier when you are starting to move outside of your playstyle of just very, very thin decks and engines, you know?
Yeah. That's interesting.
I feel like
it's like local minima and local maximum.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we're talking about here is the analysis works within some peak and valley. But then if you go even further outside, if you take the jump over the pond, then there's a whole new analysis.
And I wasn't necessarily equipped for that analysis at the time. Now, I did take this challenge.
I like the take.
Okay, cool. I felt like the take. Probably we were okay.
The deck is only direct damage sources. Even the imps are direct damage sources. You know what I mean? We will find a way. Do we just play Titan's Tooth?
Yeah.
Right?
It's just about whether or not we could afford to have the Nameless Siren take any damage, but it's not like anything else was spawning after.
Yeah. My one consideration there was whether or not it was worth leaving a space open to Welder Imp the Nameless Siren, but I think we do enough damage that it won't matter.
That's definitely a reasonable consideration. As long as they're not hasting up here, we have extra. Ooh. You know, we could, actually, legitimately though.
That's actually just solid, right? And then we can still, we can't quite Titan's Tooth, but that's okay. This is quite good. That's so funny. We got what we wanted.
Hell yeah. All right, extra. Ooh, there's that energy siphon back for us.
Yeah, and a mollusk mage too, right? We haven't found any attuned spells yet, which is kind of weird for what we're doing with Conduit.
Yeah, the one we would have found so far would be Crypt Builder.
There's also Titan's Gratitude.
Titan's. Oh yeah, that's a common, isn't it? Oh, gosh.
That's the new front line. That's the card these days. That's the new meta, if you will. Welcome to my new meta.
Have you met my new meta? It's positively delightful.
I don't think we need any of this.
I'm stumbling on the energy siphon because it feels like it's only single target. Ice Tornado really wants it here.
It's got to be like, what is it going to matter for later? You know, an Ice and Pyre or something. But Fledgling Imp is reasonable, but it sure says Rage, I guess.
Yeah, like honestly, the Fledgling Imp to me is loading the gun of the Transcend Imp at this point. Like that's its value.
I think, you know what? I think let's try to keep this pretty focused. I think let's skip. And I think let's try to maximize the consistency with which we can spam spells on the conduit row in order to empower the Nameless Siren, and let's focus on trying to find ways to make it more survivable.
Sure.
Rather than adding further, I don't think there's enough utility in the Fledgling Imp for it to justify.
Okay. Yeah, I'm totally on board with that. I will say this floor has become a little bit harder given that we don't necessarily have any obvious dupe targets. Like offering tokens, probably the easiest one right now.
Yeah, I think I still go left because we need to see units. Like we can make a train steward into a frontliner, and I'm prepared to do it, but I would rather not. We can do better, and I think that's worth its weight in gold for us right now.
Yep, there are 3 units in particular that would be really, really good hits here. Siren of the Sea, Guard of the Unnamed, and the Titan Sentry. Like, that's enough to feel pretty comfortable going to it.
And if we get an offering monument, then that's awesome. Shork!
There it is.
That'll be good enough for me. Yeah, that's true. In fact, that might actually maybe be the best. I was thinking that Unnamed was the best, but Guard of the Unnamed, but this might actually be better.
Yeah, I think as we continue drafting cards, we're actually going to get worse and worse at AoE right now, so...
We need to get some buffs on it. Maybe we should dupe it.
I would be very, very, very happy to give it a bunch of buffs and then dupe it 2 times, putting it on 3 different floors.
Yeah, endless Shork. Big.
It's so good.
Shork. You know, these runs this weekend are definitely reinforcing something that I'm finding in this streak, which is there's a little bit of play between easily justifiable choices and choices for the fun or the experimentation, particularly as we're climbing. And that's been cool to explore along the peripheries of, without being totally ridiculous and putting ourselves at major risk, but I'm just now getting to the point where I've played this game enough that there are a handful of lines that I can see, and they're like wide open. You know what I mean? You can see how you get to the end game, and so playing around with some slightly different decisions is super fun.
Definitely, could not agree more. I think that, especially on the lower difficulties that we're currently running, right? I think that we
keep saying that, but we're actually in the teens now, so it's we're no longer in the babies, but it's just not 20s.
That's true. They are getting up there, but I think that like both of us can build a successful run effectively enough that we have the ability to play these things.
Yep.
And have fun with them. We can dupe the Titan Sentry as it currently stands.
I'm not that inspired, right?
Yeah, like it really feels like I want to get a plus 25 on it because it dies to the first wave a couple times later on. So
I think the dupes that are most exciting to me in this deck right now are Welder.
Welder's great, yeah.
Although it's a little hard to play around with if we're actually trying to weld our Sentry. Like we don't have space. The Steel Pulley Claw that you just picked up is a solid dupe target.
Yep. Couple turns of the pie hitting them, as well as any frostbite they've collected by that point. The offering token makes it so much easier for us to take anything else that says offering, though.
Yep. I would lean very barely towards the Pulley Claw, just because it does something so incredibly strong. Like, if we are... Pulley Claw helps us substantially if we're struggling. And I think that is a pretty good framework for decision making in games like this. Is if you're not really sure how to think about the decision, you can tackle it from a bunch of different angles, right? You can try to break down the game as we do into frontliners, backliners, and boss scaling. Which one are we missing and how do we improve it? But if you're still in the kind of protoplasmic stage, you're still differentiating your deck, but you know the game, and you know that sometimes Stygian can struggle with that mid game because they're just too fragile. What is the card which has the biggest impact in helping us survive through waves and dispatch key targets? And the answer is Steel Pulley Claw, right? So I think when in doubt, that's where I go here. I
gotta say, I was leaning, honestly, before your description, a little towards the offering token, kind of the same, like, yeah, I'd do either, but I've got a preference. And the preference broke down over the course of your description, because I totally agree with the fact that we are going to have individual units, especially in a couple floors time, the 90s, that we just need to take care of. And having the tools at our hand to do that, really, really good. I was going to try and counter with something along the lines of, yes, but it's not necessarily having its cost decrease. We have a lot of very expensive spells in the deck, despite the fact that we have any cost decrease coming out from Conduit. So what we really want is just like a large amount of expenditure on very, very few cards. So having another expensive card in the deck isn't necessarily super helpful. But then I anti-convinced myself there.
You have more energy to play with because of Conduit.
Exactly.
Yep.
Oh man. And also, like, I think in my mind, I was thinking like, oh, the ultimate version of this deck is that, like, card negativity, such as is proposed in the offering token right now. The ultimate version of this deck draws, 7 spells a turn and plays all of them for free. So card negativity is bad. Yeah. Yep, let's get that Bully Claw. I like it.
I think we would be happy to end up in, and I've seen this happen with Stygian, in a place to where we basically just ignore all the waves and just focus on scaling.
Yeah.
And we're only, a siren song and a couple trinkets away, basically, from being able to do that.
It's certainly not far from us. Okay, so we just set up the full top floor because clergyman.
I think so, right? Yeah. Minimize clergy risk. It means that we're not taking as much advantage of the frost, but we're going to beat Daedalus top floor.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that's going to be even slightly a concern. So if these are used, just making absolutely certain I have this correct, these are used before the Relentless phase, then they just apply the days 3 and put them on the top floor?
That's right.
Cool.
So we could fight them right now if we wanted, yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with a little damage in advance.
Certainly. I mean, especially in the situation where I know this enemy is not going to propose any risk. Or rather, that Steel Pulley Claw is not going to be necessary in any other situation.
Right. We're strong enough to deal with the other frontliners. The two beefy lads wave is the one that, is worth some consideration. But as long as we can get through the double, we're fine.
Yeah, and honestly, I would not be entirely opposed to just putting double stack on these for the sake of having the easier time against people like Seraph, because they're going to come in with 3-4 days, maybe.
I think I would have maybe thrown Titan Shard or Titan's Tooth into the 2 tough units last turn, but we're close enough here. We leak what, like 1 hit? Yeah, it's not bad. The haste made that math a little weird.
Yeah.
But it actually made it better in a way, because then we got more hits on our Shork, too.
Yeah, just throw out the extra damage.
Yeah, we made it. It's enjoyable to look at these and think about them kind of academically, because because then when 2 health does matter, we will have already thought about those different lines. The day will come. Oh, wow. Man, those are some serious cards, too.
Yeah, if you had to ask the 3 I wanted to see, that would be them.
So, okay, so I've been talking about cards a lot, so I would love to hear your analysis here.
Sure. The fact that we don't have a Guard of the Unnamed and instead have a Titan Sentry pushes me a little further away from Deep Offering than I would typically be, because the refuel matters so much more when you have a double incant floor, but I'm also pushed further in the direction for it because we have a lot of cards that now cost 0 as a result of the Conduit.
Yep.
However, that sure is a spike of the Stygian.
It sure is. Yep.
It feels like Hoarfrost Effigy is going to require a lot more Frostbite scaling than we currently necessarily have access to, and it's only it's only really going to be usable in the Seraph fight, where we're already probably going to be fine if we get the right things online.
And Spike of the Stygian is double good against the Seraph, who's a triple attacker.
Yes. I will say, I'm also very, very happy to possibly get this just double cost reduce it or double stack it, especially. It doesn't necessarily open up double stack because we still do have the steel pulley claws in the deck, but the steel pulley claws in the deck, the double stacking of them is literally only really valuable for the major bosses. So
yeah,
if we want double stack usable in more circumstances than that, it's Spike of the Stygian. I sit with Spike of the Stygian here.
Spike of the Stygian is my 90% inclination too.
Cool.
I feel really, really good about it.
Or 5 and 5, or whatever the split is.
10% or 20 or something is deep offering, since we do already have a strong incant target. And we are already in on Conduit as a mechanism to effectively, you can think of it as generating energy if you're playing mostly spells that damage spells, right?
Yep.
You know, we'll find plenty of ways to use this. It's consistency. But Spike of the Stygian is not just damage scaling, it's also high utility, right? Sap a sweeper so that you don't get hit on the back line. Sap the key bosses so that you can scale through them a little longer. Gives you more immediate damage scaling. It's a really, really strong potential. Like, the ceiling for Spike of the Stygian is very, very high if we find other ways to break energy. So yeah, I think this card is really good. I don't think it's ever Hoarfrost Effigy here. And I love Hoarfrost Effigy, and you can do cool things with Shork, but I think Spike of the Stygian is just going to do better in most fights.
Actually, as you were saying that, I think there are two things that I want to say. And as you were saying your reasoning, I flipped back and forth between which one I actually wanted. So I flipped
interesting.
back over to Deep Offering because I was like, wait a second. Our scaling for bosses in particular is very reliant on that Nameless Siren actually getting enough buffs. And we don't necessarily have the ability to draw into a ridiculous amount of buffs for it at the moment.
Right.
Deep Offering is exactly what we need. Oh my god, I can't believe I was overlooking it at the time. But then I went back in the other direction because guess how we die, Teak? Crystal Cloak.
Oh gosh. You're right. It's coming. We would get so checked. No, you're so right. Oh. Do you want a deranged brute? That's our tank. Click it.
Oh my god.
Click it.
Yeah, I am going to click it. I'm just trying to think of. So that means the Titan sentries go on the other two floors. So we're literally just duping the Titan sentry once at this point. We probably only have one health and even following.
And that's actually so good for us because it makes us better at waves.
That's incredible. I really like that.
I'm draw.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I could make the argument. I think we need upgrades on our units right now.
Yeah. No, I agree. If we get a couple just solid upgrades online, we're gonna be way stronger.
Oh my god.
You want to multi-strike your siren, kid? First one's free.
That's how they get you hooked. And they already have. I need another multi-strike.
Do you just go ahead and put the battle stone on the deranged brute here? It's kind of hedging, but we will benefit from getting some health.
We're not going to find 2 plus 25s in the next roll, so yeah.
And I don't want to wait too long because we desperately want this value. So I guess we make biggest shark.
Biggest shark. Hey, do you want to just battle stone it as well?
Heck yeah.
We literally don't need to visit another Merchant of Magic after this point. Like, the Nameless Siren kind of wants it a little bit for maybe another multi-strike or some base stats, but it's an optional thing now.
And putting in can't gain armor on Deranged Brute, like, there's our Guard of the Unnamed.
Exactly.
We got everything we wanted. We got it all.
This is a funny-looking Guard of the Unnamed, but...
You've got a brand new look, man. Did you get that? Your tan didn't age well.
That drip
That's a bit
really
of a burn.
suits you.
I like that. Would you call it a robe? What kind of? It's a bit of a poncho.
Yes. I believe these are officially referred to as tatters.
Tatters. I see.
Yes.
Derelict.
Extremely derelict. Did you ever end up watching the sequel?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I knew there was a sequel.
You and the rest of everyone, apparently. I mean, we could make the Ice Tornadoes 0 cost right now. I think we have a pretty big incentive to go chill wins, though.
What is Conduit 3?
I'm almost entirely certain it's just 3, and also the damage is like 60. Conduit.
It's a real damage number.
340.
It's 40?
Yeah.
Why does it do less damage than Chillwind?
It does seem like the stats that are given to Chillwind versus Conduit could probably be reversed.
They're a little weird, right? It's like it's Frostbite 40 and it's also doing 60 damage.
Mm-hmm.
And Tethys is and the Conduit is like, yes, but my spells are so powerful. I don't require this much damage. Yeah, I mean, the safe line here is to start hybridizing in Chillwind.
Mm-hmm.
And
do we need to be safe?
We don't. And one thing that I like about taking more points in Conduit is that, I mean, we can get to the point to where literally every damage spell in the deck is just free.
Mm-hmm.
All of those incants are free, and draw effects stay free too. But I mean, 2 points in Conduit or 2 points in Chillwind is 20 Frostbite a turn. And let's look at our deck, right? As you said, so we can save some on Frozen, Ice Tornado. All the Hornbreaks are already free.
And Titan's Tooth at the moment.
Titan's Tooth, I guess. Spike of the Stygian can't be made free. Steel the Pulley Claw can't be made free. Now, we don't know what else will draft.
Mm-hmm.
And there are more expensive spells.
There are, in particular for the sake of getting Conduit 2, I'm already thinking about the possibility of the... Oh god, I can't believe I've forgotten the name of it. Piercing deals 5 damage, adds 20 armor.
Oh, it's not Sadistic Ritual, or it's... I know what you're talking about. It's a Hellhorn card. I'm crossing my games right now, which is making it really hard.
That is totally okay. I think that is probably contributing to my difficulty in remembering these things as well. Wait.
I think we passed it. I think it was...
Branding right.
Branding right. Yeah.
That's a damage spell.
Yeah, it sure is. You're right. That's actually pretty huge, isn't it? Let's do it. I think Chillwind is the much safer path, but this could be very fun.
Yeah, that's the same argument we made as well, by the way, in the first Heft decision.
But you know what? I think okay. You always talk about how on my stream, the tagline that's always there is always learning, right? We are playing a video game. It's supposed to be fun, first off, and also I want to continue to learn. How do you learn in a game that you've already found consistent, successful lines in? One of the answers is to dance closer to the edge. Taking increasingly strange and somewhat risky decisions forces you to analyze just how strong am I? Am I as good as I think I am? And so I really like playing like this because it forces me to say, can I get away with that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it can teach you a lot.
I've had that same experience of like the risk taking of this has taught me so much about how this deck functioned, because this risk that I took, I learned the downside of it, or possibly I learned the upside of it. The amount of times that I've had some sort of like a branched variation where I've taken maybe a risk that I don't necessarily usually take, or I've rolled the dice in a way I don't necessarily usually do, and then that has become standard practice for me then afterwards is monumental. It's ridiculous.
That's awesome. That's what we're doing here is in the best world, in the worst world, we think we still win. In the best world, we hope we figure out something really cool to do with Conduit 3.
All right, and then do I just...
Unfortunately, I think we're missing the coolest unit for Conduit, which is Offering Monument. But maybe that's just the coolest unit for playing spells.
Yeah, in the whole game.
Right? It's just so strong.
I would really like to have the Conduit, the Primordium Offering Monument Feast Gorge. There's some combo there that's an infinite that I can't remember all the pieces of right now.
That's really complex and super cool. Yeah.
Kill them.
I haven't explored infinites much in this deck since the 1.0, or in this game rather.
Yeah.
We're getting to word soup stage already tonight. Deck, game, it's all blurring together.
It's it happens very, very quickly to me these days. I think it's especially because I'm playing 3 deck build. Well, actually, 4
Yes.
deck builders at the moment.
What?
Well, it's Slay the Spire and Slay the Spire Downfall, right? I'm considering as different.
Okay, that's true. That's true. I think that is fair to think of that as a different game. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, the more that you stack on, the more your brain... Absolutely. And you can keep playing almost by sheer force of will, but the words that come out of your mouth become increasingly foreign.
Yeah. Especially when, like, it's consume in this game, it's, expel in this game, it's...
Yes.
The consume in this game is not the consume in this game.
Mithril, 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 mithril.
It's just gorilla all the way down.
Gorilla, that's right. It's buffalo.
Exactly. I mean...
Do you take another Titan's Tooth then? I kind of like it.
If we've got them costing 1, yeah.
Right? And then that's our micro chill wind. Oh, reinforce could be fun.
The amount of incant scaling we would need for that to be
I know.
is very high. Although...
And we don't have the draw for it yet, at least.
There is a world where we get Railhammer, and suddenly that says incant plus 6 armor.
Yeah. But in that case, are we already doing well enough? And in both cases, is it just better to take a March of Shields? Rage Serum is too cute, I think.
You think it's too cute? I was about to make the argument for it, given we have the Resonant Shard, the Deranged Brute, and the Nameless Siren with multi-strike.
We do have multi-strike, right? So it's 3 times 4, 12. It's 24 damage immediately. It's not a bad spell.
It's a lot of early scaling on a no damage Nameless Siren right now.
I'm
pretty happy with it.
My suspicion is that March of Shields or Reinforce are better because I am more concerned about our in-game durability than our in-game damage scaling. Which is weird, right? Because more damage means you can be less durable. So there's some kind of curve fitting that you need to do. But I think I have found that.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you think our durability is going to get harder to get than our scaling for our damage?
Yes, and that we get more out of every point of durability right now.
Okay, I like it. I agree. I think in a vacuum I would have taken that potion. And I probably...
The potion was good. No, because especially if we take another draw, which I think is quite likely, that's an easy spell to play. When you summon your first imp unit each turn, gain 1 energy and draw 1 card. That
replace the cost of that imp.
Is not bad. It's a few removals, actually, is what it is for really cheap. How does Split Anvil work with... how does that work?
Doesn't.
What does that even do? It works for other spells that aren't damage spells.
That's
and
true.
On other floors.
It will work in both of those circumstances. My understanding is that it is the at-cast cost that is set for what Split Anvil considers.
Split Vandal.
That's why we have to split
Vandal.
him. Constantly ruining our windows.
You would have split him too.
Exactly. Oh.
If you'd have been there.
This Vandal is dedicated. He split my anvil. That's a lot of work. How dedicated do you have to be to vandalism before you're like, you know what? That solid chunk of metal, I'm going to vandalize that.
I'm going to vandalize that. Also, who are you, Thanos? What are you doing? Do you ever skip here? You got to take the anvil over skip, right?
Do you know?
I think so because... like Spike of the Stygian exists, that never gets cost reduced, and we can play Spike of the Stygian and a Steel Pulley Claw in a turn. That's real.
Okay, I'm happy with the Spike of the Stygian especially, because it's always going to be available. Do we settle for Queen's Tail? Because, to me, what Queen's Tail is right now is it is equal with removing the imps from the deck. It pays for their cost in terms of their summoning, as well as their cost in terms of their draw.
And so then you can argue that it's better than removing because it's 175 gold and removal cost will scale, and this opens us up to remove other things. And we also have a Welder's Imp in the deck, right? So we have more imps.
Okay, good point. Well played.
I like it quite a lot here.
Okay. Let's get the 2 shiny suits out of here as well, though. I think we are very, very past their bedtime.
Go to bed. Sweepy. Sweepy. Multi-strike hurts the enemy.
It's it does, especially on the lower floors. I think we will have some Clips Guardians with decent HP values come up to the top floor and be a bit scary. I think I actually may have had more difficulty taking this, or rather, I definitely would have had more difficulty taking this if we didn't go March of Shields. Yeah,
and if we didn't have 108 health. The key thing is making sure we don't lose our win lane, right? Like, it's fine to take some damage. We cannot let them kill our units, which means probably setting up 2nd or 3rd floor, maybe even air gap, like 3rd floor setup, Frost Sentry on the bot floor, so we have 2 turns to steal Pulley Claw any runaway enemies.
Gives us the interim floor to even possibly, cast extra support spells just to try and kill a unit with the Frostbite.
I would like to admit that I mostly just wanted to describe this operation as air gapping our units. I just wanted to be able to say those words.
So I got from context what air gapping means. Like, there is air between these two, right?
They're not connected. It's just empty space.
Okay, so there is there a specific context in which air gapping is used?
Yeah, security. You air gap hardware as a guarantee that there are no interactions that are happening between them, right? There's no network, there's no electrical, there's no anything. They're air gapped. They're separated.
Right. That's super neat. I had not necessarily heard it in that context.
But then it turns out that maybe they're not separated. But that's a very, very long conversation. That's a really cool 0 day, though. It's a cool finding.
This goes up to the top. It's gonna deal no, wait, no. Split anvil paid off.
I knew you'd grow up.
Big and strong.
The split anvil, this is what I hoped, is that there would be enough opportunities to play spells that weren't damage spells and on off floors that it would give us value. Especially with all the 3 costs and X costs too. This is a really solid setup.
Yeah, no kidding.
I was vaguely worried about this challenge, and I am not worried about this challenge.
I love that we can just cast all the excess spells here without caring about any of it. Hey, that was weird. So on this floor, I used an offering token to draw a Titan's Tooth and cast it with the offering value rather than its energy cost. And because of that, Steel Pulley Claw went down.
Whoa, that almost feels like a bug. I guess because you played it via offering instead of via... That's super weird, right?
Yeah, so it assumed its cost at that point, right? Because it can't be looking at the active cost on the field. Can
you hover over Conduit? Can you hover over Tethys? What exactly does she say? Damage spells cost -2. So is offering like a special summon? Did we just special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon onto that floor and that's why we got the value?
Yeah, I think effectively what's happened there is that the split anvil at some point must have bypassed, or rather offering must have bypassed the split anvil, and then they made conditional rules for it to work with it by assuming the cost of the card.
Oh, but then no one was drafting Conduit. It's whack-a-mole. That's awesome.
Ooh. Wait, no, it's not relevant.
I'd love to get some +10 MP on these horn breaks, right?
Yeah, no kidding. It's going to be very, very important for them in the later game. I'm going to spend all of those. I don't care about any of you.
Yeah, might as well. Fools are deaded.
Huh. I forgot that this was going to be, sweep.
Good news is, we do have a spike of the Stygian, and we have a few floors to find it. And it can make all the difference.
Teak.
No, did you just put it?
Yeah, I played it for no value.
Well,
you don't think
that
was
may
the
have
correct
been
choice?
premature. But we'll find a way. Life,
It finds a
a way. Oh. Does life find a way?
Life found a way.
It does. Oh, God. That was so scary. All right, noted. Spike of the Stygian. Important for bosses.
Yeah. Let's hold on to that one. The one that I specifically wanted for its value against bosses.
We made it through. We made it through. We had enough frostbite too that we would have even lived a few turns of hits up in the pyre. And that might have just been the lumps that we needed to remember our place. You'll take these lumps and you will enjoy them, player.
I feel like I do have to take a lump from time to time to really
We all
remember
do.
it.
We all do. It's the best way to learn. Losing is fun, and losing is learning, and learning is fun. And I lose a lot.
And I thought you were about to say, and I learn a lot.
I learn a lot. I love learning.
This kinstone feels real.
It's kind of cute.
Is it?
It's kind of cute.
We have
a
one
Spike of the
discard.
Stygian. Yeah. I would still take it over 25 gold here, I think.
Okay.
And if we get another offering totem, or, you know, like, I don't know. Cute enough for me.
Do we ever go capacity for the second gem? Take a Guardian Stone, support the top floor with extra HP?
I think I might love that.
It fixes the problem we just ran into. The Tethys itself is also relatively vulnerable on that top floor to possible sweeps or spikes. It also...
And we're starting to find pseudo draw effects too, like Imp's Tail.
Yeah.
Is a replacement effect at least.
Ooh.
Oh.
Well. So battering ram is almost always going to be kind of like
sit
a
on
kill
this
front
screen
line.
and make sounds for like 5 minutes. Well, but in that case,
One of these days, I'm going to pick up on that being a setup and just play into it really hard and just hope.
Oh gosh. Okay, sorry. What were you saying?
So battering ram, like,
It's not bad.
after this all happens, like literally this is happening and applying 4 armor to friendly units, and it combines all of the armor for the
Wait, I
battering
think
ram.
it's really good because it's also going to be free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's click it. And we're kind of struggling with front lines, and we want to protect our health. So that's clicking and ticking a lot of boxes for me. Clicking them and ticking them. I guess we're going right side here because we think we're okay on unit upgrades.
Yeah, it seems like right side because we're really happy to look for even just the negative to the Spike of the Stygian bit.
Yeah, some plus damage on like our horn break. So there's all sorts of stuff that we could get value out of right now.
Holdover offering tokens back on the table as well.
Agreed. It's giving us energy now.
Yeah, no kidding.
Big money. I guess we're just going to turn all of our frozen lances into 26s, which is really not terrible.
Yeah, at least they'll be out of the deck in the second cycle.
This is, I think, Spike, right?
Just making absolutely certain there wasn't something else that desperately needed it.
So permafrost Spike is not bad.
I'm actually very keen on this.
You're excited about it? It could be a good dupe for us too, actually, in this deck.
Like, in the universe where we lose to the Crystal Cloak, it happens because we didn't have Spike and Stygian in any of the ascending turns.
That is a solid analysis. Although, wait, what floor are we on? We passed Crystal Cloak.
Oh, we did.
It's over, but there's still more bosses, and we would like to spike them. What year is it? Where are we? I guess -1 cost on Steel Pulley Claw is acceptable. Oh, yeah, March of Shields. I like that a lot. That way we can, no matter what we do. Yeah, that's nice.
Never seeing +10s here at all, though.
Yeah, we haven't. Isn't that wild?
Very hostile.
So hostile. Huh.
How big do we want this shark?
So big, brother.
Okay, just clarifying.
Okay, that's our dupe target.
Yeah.
We have embiggened the boy.
We have a dupe in the next, and it's the opposite side of a Merchant of Steel. This could not be a bear. Like, the path for us has actually been perfect.
It really has been. Don't have to look hard for the bright side this time.
Yeah, no kidding.
Although I am going to have to figure out how to have fun without losing. I haven't figured that one out. Try to learn today.
I think I'm going to kind of turn off the majority of my brain for this one because this feels like it does not need it.
Strong. It would be nice to put like permafrost on the battering ram. Would you ever put holdover on that battering ram?
100%, yeah.
I think so, right?
Like it very
I would be happy to play that every turn.
Exactly. It's just going to delete them.
We're just going to delete them.
Why have them exist when they cannot instead?
I guess we can set up a pretty sweet 4 energy spike of the Stygian. Although 3 energy is pretty good too, and then everything's just free. Play the whole hand. Oh, I guess you go Imp, and then...
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I quite like that. Imp, just go ahead and spike the boss. I'm not worried about the waves from here at all.
Definitely don't think we need to be. God, that shark.
He's big, and we're going to have 2 of him.
Wait. Wait, oh, you can't even target this on your own units to try and get them to that floor. Okay, cool.
God, it was a great idea, though. There was a moment where my brain was so ecstatic.
Could have loaded the Guardian Stone finally. Well, we'll just come back up here. I'm not done with you yet.
Get up here. Yeah, I think it's Pips, right? I'm pretty excited about getting that Guardian Stone in. And Pips also means that we can put like an Imp with our Shork, which is good because we do want a space to play out Imp for the Imp tail.
Yeah, if we still had any weakness, this fixes it.
Totally.
Okay. For some reason, I was like, oh, but what if this hits the frontliner 2 times and the Ice Tornado kills it, and then I can cast back? Oh, for no damage.
Just come up for the horn break.
Yep.
Listen, sucker.
Wait a
so
second.
what is our rage at up top? Like, how are we? Oh my gosh, are we gonna win?
Almost.
Trying to win bot lane. Could we have split anvil to victory there?
Use the split anvil.
You did. Oh, we had 2 Titan's Tooth. Got you.
Yep.
I didn't see the second.
It's all good. I cast it very quickly.
Okay, so we're getting to like 50 rage. So it's not absurd as far as incant goes, but it is strong because we're getting quadruple out of it. Actually, octuple, I guess, if you consider the multi.
Yeah, no kidding, and maybe...
what if more multi?
Exactly. Although...
How do we play it?
I don't think we do, because these both say rage, and we have a deranged brute and a resonant shard.
And so that's just much easier to get value out of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you... Gosh, the thing is are we going to Dark Deal our Siren?
Yep.
I guess it's damage. It's not piercing damage, so that's actually fine. It is a lot of rage, isn't it?
It is a hell of a lot of rage. I will say there's also a secondary impact in that if we have imps we need to kill, Dark Deal does that.
Yeah, I like this Dark Deal. I like it. The One Horn's Tome is like, you like to play One Horn's Tome, right? But it would take so much investment from us at the end of the game.
Shark, shark, shark. Oh, more buffs. Plus 25 on the shark, please.
Yes.
Not that one.
Well, you could put a Monster Rail Spike in it.
And just not play it in the next run? Next floor, rather?
Hey, can we get away with that?
So I think we can, but I think at that point we're kind of squeaking by.
And it's going to depend a lot on the trial, won't it? And we want to take the trial.
Yeah, especially for the 400.
That would be wild, though.
Do
you ever like Monster Rail Spike the armor totem and then just only play it in the final fight? I don't know. I'm wanting more and more. I feel like I'm losing value by not using Monster Rail Spike as I'm only using it as a removal, and I
Mhm.
feel like I should be using it as an actual buff sometimes. But I need more practice to make that work. You know what I mean?
I feel like that too. I feel like there is some play in there, but also there is part of me that's like, the design kind of very, very disincentivizes me from doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wonder, like, if that is supposed to be a more viable option, I wonder if there's a different way that event could manifest, like Purge 2. The second time this is played, it's purged or something.
Right, right. Oh gosh, that would be cool. You get 2 plays out of this. Yeah.
Especially
so you only summon it on the major bosses or something, right? It's
exactly.
your trump card.
Do we just want to kind of like meme it a little and go for the third in the conduit?
I think so. I think we should go full in on this conduit plan.
Let's do it.
Cute. It's fun. Stylish.
I think, like, I only have the third level of the conduit filled out in the logbook because I individually went into a run and specifically leveled the conduit because I needed to fill that out. Otherwise, I was never going to get level 2 of conduit, probably.
Yeah. I'm glad, by the way, that we didn't take Purge on the Shark, because we to take this, we can take this. I really want to play both of them, right?
Yeah.
To help protect our top line.
100%.
Yeah, I still probably have 1 or 2 missing things from my logbook. I should check that out. I got to get all the internet points. That it is known.
Having completed my logbook relatively recently, I'll tell you, you get no internet points for it. Instead, you get someone saying, correctly, by the way, but someone saying, actually, you're not complete with the game until you do the How to Deck Builder achievement.
Oh, gosh. Oh, the Impling here gives us a draw, too. It's nice.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It dies?
I mean, it does die on the bottom floor, so yeah, sure. I was putting it on the top floor literally just to have the ability to horn break it afterwards.
Right. But now we can horn break the Pirewing, I guess.
Yeah. I actually think I may have preferred leaving it on the top floor for the sake of just getting extra armor into the range for it.
Jeez. True.
There we go.
Now we're talking. Now we're sharking. Do you welder the Shork, then?
Oh, I think the Sharks are going to live through every round here. I think what we need to do is support the HP on the top floor.
Okay. Okay. I
I
like
like
it.
thinking of that, though.
Weld it up, march it up, dark deal up our... Although we have to be a little careful with dark dealing the Siren if Pirewings are leaking. But it should only be this first one. No, we might leak more.
I'm kind of feeling that actually Dark Deal goes onto the deranged brute.
On the brooch.
Yeah.
The brooch. Okay. Okay, I like that line a lot.
Okay, cool. And we've got everything else on value on other floors. Good.
I think our objective is to kill every Pirewings before they get to swing on floor 3. If they swing on the other floors, it's okay.
We've got the Ice Tornado for it on the next floor. We're fine.
Yep.
Yep. Although this hand is pretty cost agnostic.
No lie. Cool that our... Oh, we can kill off the Welder Imp. Everything's cool. It's cool that the whatever... Oh, I guess maybe there was a world where we were holding it or something. This is so much better. I didn't realize that the Welder Imp had ended up front. It was up there doing imp things.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to get it for the chump block there. I don't necessarily know if it was the right choice, but it felt it in the moment, and it also felt like it didn't matter.
True that. No, I was just recognizing that. Oh yeah, we could. Oh, but they have thorns.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we prefer not to do that, right? Well, we don't need to. Do we spike at the Stygian the Pirewing then? Here?
We don't need to save this for the boss, right?
Yeah, it's living armor.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Good point.
I was acknowledging that even though we're losing some energy with the Ember Drain on our mid and bottom lane, that's made up for by the Conduit effect.
No,
Looking for all of the nice surfaces. Even if we have 0 energy, we can still do meaningful things every turn.
It's a pretty important part of this deck, at least in this fight. What was... Hang on. What card did I just play? Because those steel pulley claws both took the debuff. And if I played any card on this top floor, it has to have cost less than them because they were damage spells. So, you know what? It doesn't count the at-cast cost.
What?
It can't. Otherwise, these would be still 2 cost.
Yeah. You're right.
I was wrong.
We're getting anvil value out with Conduit. Well, that is cool. I mean, it doesn't feel overpowered.
Yeah,
you know?
Just did it again. Okay, well, that's you learn something new all the time.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Just gonna
murk these lads.
And then steal.
Oops. Streak. Bye-bye. You know, it's funny. The Pyre is not a bad matchup for living armor. Because it's single hits, but...
Yeah, I wonder if I'm gonna utilize that at all when I have to go for the How to Deck Builder achievement.
Mm-hmm. You can have as many relics as you want in that, right?
Yes. Yeah, just no cards in by the end.
Well, that can make a huge difference.
Although, apparently you can just straight up use, like, challenge modifiers as well. Like your Pyre hitting multiple times or enemies being dazed as soon as they go.
Oh, wow,
Pyre.
really?
So,
oh, okay. Okay.
So
Well, then you can theory craft your way.
I think that is how people go through that. I don't think we need anything here. Just skip.
If you wanted to take a Hoarfrost, you could. Or a Crystalline Seeds, but I agree that this is very skippable. No, Hoarfrost actually wasn't bad. You want more Battering Rams?
I do want more Battering Rams.
I kind of do too.
I think we may be getting close to a early Seraph kill with these.
Getting closer. So I'm assuming we're going to the right here.
What would we be duping?
I was going to suggest just duping a spike.
Yep, I can
keep it simple.
I can definitely see playing that.
Right.
The only reason to go the other direction would be to support the Nameless Siren's health. We don't need to do that right now. Yeah, there's no sweepers coming in.
We've got
Sorry?
Seraph the Diligent. So Seraph the Diligent is blights.
Yes.
But we've got Shark to manage that. In a different run, this Ashes of the Fallen would be pretty hype.
Yeah, no kidding.
We had the imps to get it started, but that just ended up being kind of a red herring.
It's just not really what we need.
The Hammered Chestplate is actually not bad here, but...
It's not awful,
but
I
do we
think
care?
we have so many larger hits. Like, literally, it's three casts after a Guardian Stone is summoned.
Yo, that Tempered Talisman does 3 damage.
Yeah.
We've never found attunement. That's so funny. New spell deals 2 damage. Yep.
Let's have a look at least at the Merchant of Magic.
Yeah, let's look over here.
Hey, you want to consume remove one of these?
That's actually awesome, because if we can cycle fast enough too, we're using that on the boss, which is not even bad.
And then officially all of the Frozen Lances have the consume on them now.
Pseudo removed, yep.
Ooh, we finally got a +10.
I guess one of the horn breaks it finally won the lottery after all this time. We could put Permafrost on a Battering Ram? Question mark.
We could put it on a Steel Pulley Claw.
I like that. Look at these Pulley Claws pulling their weight. They're doing great.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm actually feeling a lot better about them. I didn't necessarily super believe in them when I clicked the card.
It's a good one. There's a reason that it costs 2, for sure.
Definitely appears to be. If we have another Battering Ram, do we just nuke the boss?
I don't know that we scale fast enough, right?
I mean,
you never found Railhammer. What was the armor at the end of that last fight?
I don't know, because it was distributed.
I want to say it was on the order of. Oh, that's true. And a Battering Ram is a ×4.
Oh, hang on. The nameless siren got up to 55 2 fights ago.
Okay.
So 55 incants over the course of the fight. We'll assume that 50-ish.
But she gets 2, right?
She does get 2, and she also decreases
like
hers.
30.
So let's
32 plays.
Let's say 30 spread across the floor is 120 with the Guardian Stone, and then the Deranged Brute. It's probably not really taking that much damage, so I'm just going to assume that it keeps 45 out of that. 165.
150. 150, 160 range. So it's a lot of damage. It is a lot of damage, but we also need the Seraph to be on the floor, right?
Yeah, that's what the Steel Pulley Claws are for.
Let's dupe this. My inclination would be to go Spike, but I think we win either way, and it is super fun to battering ram our way through with Conduit. That's pretty cool. That's pretty unique.
I also think we can probably start removing something. Maybe like Queen's Implings at this point?
Were there anything at all in the trinket shop that we care about? Or did we really get the double whiff?
It's a pretty hard whiff.
It's not great, right?
Just not really helping us in any direction.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could remove some Implings, I guess.
The only reason I want to do this is because if we draw 2 imps in any of the opening turns, we're just slowing down our incants. Like, it's a very minimal optimization.
Well, we have the tail to draw through them, but we have to find a space for them. So we're not really slowing down as long as we can find a good place.
The slowdown comes when you have more than 2 in a hand, and it only gives you +1 for the first cast.
Right. That's true. You only get to proc it one time. I'd say that it's certainly better this way, right? Objectively better. They're not being made cheaper, so.
All right. And now, oh, really? No Shark on turn 1?
No Shork. It's okay.
There's going to be some Purifier nonsense for us then, I guess.
We get to set up these other things, so that's good. Oh, and this is Diligence, so the spells we play, first one's Consume.
And then that reduces the cost of this, and I play it on the bottom floor.
Sick.
Ooh, see, we learned that tech earlier.
We did.
In this run,
we did.
And it came into play.
We sure did.
That's what the Frozen Lancers are for.
For dying.
Yeah, well, I mean, for being our consumed card.
Yep.
A lot of me does want to just use this Spike of the Stygian on the boss right now.
Just play it. Here's one counter, which may be worth, is it's always going to consume, so it makes for a very good first card because of Split Anvil as well.
It's a great point. I will keep it on that reasoning.
So I guess that makes it next turn we play.
We need incants, so we still play them.
Heck yeah.
Come up here.
The bullying begins.
Why don't you come up
Getting
here?
some damage. Why don't you come play with us?
This top floor, I'm officially going to label the principal's office.
So is this is the turn then? This is our Spike of the Stygian turn.
Oh, just... Yeah, okay. Cool. Like it. Like it, love it, want more of it. Yeah,
I tried so hard. I can't get above it.
Our armor is getting serious now.
It's happening. Yeah, it's plenty of scaling, right? And we're already at 50 Frost, which is kind of impressive, but that's the power of Shorks. Shorks plus the Stygians. Stygian Spike.
It's definitely the Spike that I thought was the least valuable for too long.
Well, he did get buffed not that long ago, right? But
yeah,
even pre-buff, I think it was
before.
quite good. Or was it 1-1 or 1? It was 1-1, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 1-1. 1-4.1.
That's wild. I think 1-2 would have been plenty.
Yeah, because like the value of it really is tied into the sap. Like,
yeah,
through and through.
The frost is kind of like a bonus, and 10 frost is a lot. 50 frost. No, that's better.
It's more. Okay.
Oh, our sharks have died.
Yep. Thankfully,
Just in time.
Yeah, we've exactly got just one purifier left we have to worry about. Even then, we got a hornbreak for it.
We've got all this damage. And we can play out the welder helper just to like draw here, I guess, too.
Oh, that's a good point. Probably should have done that a touch earlier, though.
We do the pulley claw thing on the boss again.
Yep, keep him dazed.
Always dazed.
I mean, that's kind of our scaling defense right there, right?
It can be. The trouble is that we can't play it anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll get one turn out of it. Or two, actually. It's not bad. We can pull other people out of the way, like that one Gilded Wing, and that's actually great.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Just gonna step there, and then bye-bye. There we go.
We will not leak.
No pyre damage
We
allowed.
could have bought the pyre wall, too, if we wanted to make that even easier. Pretty close to killing with the battering ram, actually.
Not too far
close. But then one hit by the siren. GG, Rhapsody.
GG, Tick. One hit as well. Like, it's got multi-strike.
Yes.
It could have come up with another.
Yeah. And that run was dominant. Our last two runs have both felt so smooth.
They both also kind of felt like, we have this secondary thing that we can do.
And it was imps both times.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we had some shork. This one was a bit more diverse, but...
Definitely.
But sometimes that's all imps need to be, is like, you know, a goodie bag.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of just throw them out there.
They can
Pinata.
be spells that are good in the early game and then they scale off, or you know, in either of those circumstances, had we got Endless, it could have been transformative to the way that we ended up playing the Welding Imp. I feel like maybe what I'm sensing here is that imps are an early utility that can become your late build variation that I have taken a shine to because I've found the exploitative measure of them consistently. And maybe I should think about them in that way, and that would help me in the same way treat other cards similarly.
Yeah. Yeah. They do have that kind of point of inflection, right? In the worst case, as you say, they're both a chump blocker and a spell.
Well,
in the worst case, you don't have any space for them. I guess that's the real worst case.
Yeah, no kidding, and no way to kill them off to be able to play more. I'm gonna generate a challenge summary for this run. Hey,
have people been playing these? Has anybody hit any of any of our runs to try a different line or anything?
I do not know. I know that
I'd
on
be curious.
main series, I get like a fair few comments of like, oh, I tried this with X or Y and it worked out.
Yeah.
You know,
A different champ line or something.
yes.
I think I saw someone saying that they tried the one where we didn't take the Brawler champ, where we took Wrathful Hornbreaker instead of Brawler. And that would be
build.
interesting to learn about. Yeah, the Reform Brawler potential line.
Yeah, I mean, we also did immediately afterwards find so much rage support that it would have just
Gosh,
been fine without
we
that.
sure did. We sure did. Yeah, but the Wrathful ended up being so busted in game, so.
That's another run in the logbooks though for the moment. I'm gonna say like this episode. When does this release? I'm just gonna quickly check. If I'm correct, this episode may have released on Christmas.
Really?
It's entirely possible.
Merry Christmas.
So, Merry
Republic?
Christmas. Happy holidays to those of you out there. To those of you who do celebrate, in particular.
Of course. That's something that's always implicit for me when I say Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. You know, any holiday is... It's a wish for everyone, those who celebrate and those who don't. I try not to assume people's particular preferences or background or religion or anything, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely get that sense from you as well. It's that the kind of way that it has been in some circumstances socially weaponized, like intentionally trying to wish someone who you do not think celebrates Christmas specifically a happy Christmas.
Or, that's no good.
Or the alternative, which is there are a lot of people who would culturally celebrate Christmas, but like it's a really stressful time for them.
Totally.
For reasons that may be related to the season. So
100% I get that.
If you're celebrating, have a happy Christmas or happy holidays broadly. For the moment, though, my name's been Rhapsody. His name's been sneakyteak. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you next year.